I've seen some really cheap DVD players in the past, and this one just might take the cake for being the cheapest of them all. This is a Danex, not a Dynex, a Danex DVD player that was given to me. Got it from the same place I got the Boeing box and a whole bunch of other stuff. Yes, it was covered in smoke. I had to spend 20 minutes cleaning it up before I could even tolerate the smell of it in the shop. Let's take a look. Okay, lights, camera, action. Today we're going to look at this other little piece of junk. This is a Danex, not a Dynex, but a Danex, D-A-E-N-Y-X. Never heard of that. It's a DVD player, obviously. This came from the same place as the Boeing box, so it was covered in nicotine. I've already taken the opportunity to clean that, and this unit does not look like it's ever been opened because it's still got the factory seal on the side of it. So we're going to open this up and just take a look at what's inside, and then see if it works. Highly unlikely, but we'll see if it works, and if not, can we make it work? This was from the era of really small DVD players, and these things typically would play pretty much anything. Like most of these units, they didn't even obey region codes, so they're quite sought after for people that they could play discs from any country without the region locking. So they were quite popular for a while there until they got all recalled and crushed and banned, and the importers of such devices got fined because they violated the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which specifically forbade devices being imported that could be unlocked. Inside, it's actually relatively clean, as you can see. Look at how dirty the plugs are on the back. Connect it to the monitor and see if it turns on. First things first, right? See if it turns on, see if it plays, see what's wrong with it. Well, it turns on, but it's in the wrong mode. Well, it's either in the wrong mode, it's either in PAL, although this TV shouldn't display PAL. It might be in component, it might be in progressive scan mode. This monitor doesn't support progressive scan, at least not from that input on the unit. That might be why it's doing that. It could be in progressive scan. Let's just plug it into the component output. No. Well, I've got no video for starters, so the disc tray opens okay, but without getting this in the correct video mode, I don't think we're going to see much on here. It's not PAL that it's in because that would be rolling on this TV. I don't think this TV supports PAL at all. So it could be a video problem on here, or it's just in the wrong mode, such as if it was in 480p as opposed to 480i. Either of the nicotine stained remotes. Look at the discoloration. None of these will work. These are obviously on a different code, so they don't do anything. Just wanting to make sure that this is not in some weird format, like it's not in PAL or anything, so I plugged it into my monitor that is capable of PAL and CCAM, and as you can see, well, it's not working. I was thinking maybe it was set in a component output, a progressive output, but this monitor can do progressive as well. It has a component input, and it can do progressive scan. So if I switch the input to YCBCR, it does the same. One thing that is interesting is that the picture is drifting on this monitor, but yet it's not on that one. It obviously has a sync problem. It looks like the horizontal sync is going too fast, as I'm seeing a portion of two images, which is what made me think initially that it might have been in progressive output, because progressive output doubles the number of scanning lines. pretty sure this other little set has progressive input. I know that this one does through the component input, so I'm just going to plug it into this one. I thought this one did, but maybe it doesn't. But I know that the plasma definitely does through the component input, so let's plug it into that one. Well, that's a little different. That's exactly what it is. This television supports it. The other one, which has component inputs, obviously doesn't support 480p progressive. But the plasma here does. This is not even a high definition plasma. This is a standard definition. It supports 480p, and it supports, I think it's 1080i that will down res to 480p. But hey, we've got a picture. Let's try it out and see if it works. So what I'm more interested in on this is, will this actually read? It does have your basic buttons on the front: play and pause, stop, skip forward, skip backwards, and open, close. And it says it supports compact disc digital video, compact disc digital audio, HD CD, MPEG-4 video with multi-audio, and a picture CD compatible. So, in other words, I should be able to load a CD with MPEG-4 clips on here, and it should be able to play them. That's interesting. I don't know if I've got any discs that I can do that with. I guess I could make one. I do have an S-Video CD. We're going to try that, and we'll try some other stuff on here as well. I'll try some MP3 audio discs. We'll put one of these in and see whether it'll read it. It should read CDRs. We'll see if it reads. I don't have my sound hooked up to this yet at the moment. It doesn't go through my my TV on this one, only because the sound input, or the TV input I'm in, I don't have the sound hooked up to it. So we'll try it on here, on the amplifier. Okay, is it playing? And it does. It started playing automatically. So, and the display is kind of cool on the TV. It tells me here it's an MP3. It's a 44.1 kilohertz. It's got the bar graph display, which is kind of cool. If I press the track skip, it will actually go to the next track. There's 97 tracks on here. Now, if I had the remote control, I might be able to do other things like random playback. But as it sits, it just plays them in the order that they are. And I probably can't do much without a remote control. I can skip ahead, but without the remote control, I can't do much else, but it plays. So that might give me some incentive to try to find a remote control that might work on this. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these are generic, and I'm sure that if I look through my pile of generic remotes, I might actually even find one that might do the job. But now that we know that it plays a CDR loaded with MP3s, let's see what else it plays. Will it play a CDRW with audio files on it? These are just regular like audio CD files. Will it play this disc? It should play it. And it does. It does play the audio CD recorded on a CDRW. So that's good. It plays that format of discs. So far so good. Let's try some different formats of video discs. The first one I'm going to try is, this is an S-Video CD. So it's recorded in MPEG-2 on a CDR. Let's see if this will support S-Video CD. I believe it's going to play it. But how well is it going to play it? it's going to play it about that well. I recorded my aquarium as a test disc on an S-video CD, and the quality of it is actually not bad. It's not as good as a DVD, but it's better than a video CD because it's MPEG-2 and it's a higher bandwidth. This is actually 480 lines. Video CD is only 240. So this is the full. This is actually, I believe it's 640 by 480, whereas a DVD is typically 720 by 480 for 4x3 and 856 by 480 for 16 by 9. This is 640 by 480, if I remember correctly, the specs for it. But it does play it, and that's good. That's I got some more discs here. We're going to test it with a DVD-R next. This is looking up. I got to find a remote that works this thing. Maybe I can program my Harmony to do some things. I'd like to switch it out of that progressive mode just to make it a little more useful. So I may have to try loading up my old Harmony remote and seeing whether I can find a code for this unit. Something that can access the menu. I can play this one. This is the DVD recorded at, I think this was the XP speed, and we can skip through the different modes. That's the 2-hour mode. The next one here was the 4-hour mode. You can see the pictures starting to get a little bit rough here. And then we went to the 6-hour mode. 8-hour mode next, I think. That 8-hour mode. This was the DVD. This was the Toshiba DVD recorder that actually has a 10-hour mode, and it should be that one, and it should be just god awful, and it is. Look at that. The S-video CD looked a lot better than that. That's a DVD in the lowest bit rate, and yeah, it's bad. That speed was good enough for recording music, basically. If you were recording like the music channels off of a cable box, for example, you could just throw it in the 10-hour speed, get 10 hours of music on a disc, and the video would just show you the title of the music that was playing, that they just, because it was useless. Or maybe record your security camera so that you couldn't identify anybody on it. But they had a 10-hour speed just so that they could say that they had a 10-hour speed. And then I went back to some other stuff in the 2-hour mode or the 1-hour mode. So that's a DVD that was recorded on my Toshiba. We'll try the one that was recorded on the Light-On. The Light-On is actually the machine that recorded that S-video CD, by the way. So we'll load this one up next. And it should play this one no problem. This was recorded on the Light-On, again, using the 4 different speeds. So this one had a high quality mode, actually SP, then I went to the high quality mode, then I went to EP, then SLP. So the 2-hour mode, 1-hour mode, 4-hour mode, and 6-hour mode. Does that make sense? I just did it out of order. So that's the 2-hour mode there, which looks pretty good. The 1-hour mode, a little bit better. And then down to the 4-hour mode, which should not look as good. Yes, definitely not quite as clear. And the 6-hour mode is considerably poorer. And it has freeze frame too. Cool. I get a kick out of the brand name. Danex. Danex, is it? Is that how they pronounce it? I have a Dynex. This is a Danex. I tried the remote for my Dynex and it doesn't do anything on this. I'm going to go see if I can find a remote or something that can be used on this So I'm going to just go grab my my Universal and try programming it up and see whether I can find a code. I'd love to be able to get into the menu and set this, like reset it so that at least it's going to be compatible with regular video equipment. Because right now, if you don't plug it into a monitor that's capable of 480p, you're not going to see a picture. And 480p really only makes a difference if you're watching content that was in 480p, like such as a movie. Like if I put a movie in here that was done, which I will, I'll put a movie in here. I'll put my Lethal Weapon disc in, widescreen version, of course, and this will be obviously in 480p, and it will be 24 frames, because that's where the 480p really shined, was the progressive output when you're watching a 24 frame film. Watching video that was done in 60i, converting that to P really didn't make much of a difference in terms of quality. But having the machine limited, or having the machine stuck in a mode that's only compatible with televisions that support 480p, yeah, it's kind of limits it. Obviously I can't show this, I'll just show you the graphics here, then I got to cut it. But I'm going to take a look and see what the quality looks like. And for 480p, it actually looks pretty good. Certainly not HD, but it looks pretty good for 480p. I got my Harmony. I actually found this model listed, so I'm going to see if I can control it. I'm going to go to Devices, and we'll see if I can select this one. This remote, the buttons, I got to redo them. I got two of these ones, right? Okay. Setup. Will setup do anything on here? Well, that is good. TV type. It's NTSC. Okay, yeah. What am I into there for? TV type. Get up to TV type. It's a 16 by 9. We'll just say 16 by 9. TV type's NTSC. Video output. I can select component video output plus, or YVU, which is component plus, CVBS, which is composite video blanking and sync, or I can select CVBS plus S video. So you have a choice. You can have composite plus S, composite plus component, and of course progressive scan. Well, we don't want it in progressive scan because, again, this particular television, well, this one does, but I want to be able to put it on regular output. So we'll switch it to that one, and should be able to get out of this now. Exit, and this will now switch to conventional, composite, and component without the progressive scan option. Let's plug it into a direct video input and see how it looks on AV inputs as opposed to component. Of course, I've switched that back to my Blu-ray player, which I use for test stuff that's on component output. So I'll be switch this over to video. Component 2 is my cable box. Digital in, I use it for testing. There we go. Video 3, that's the composite input from this unit. It works. I did notice on the remote control there's a button marked video mode, and that will actually switch the modes without actually having to go into, you can switch to progressive scan or to S video or back to YVU. I can change that without having to actually go into the menu. What I was hoping when I put in this MP3 was that I was going to be able to select, let's see if it'll do it. I'm looking to see whether it will do random. Like, I don't think it will. I don't think it's going to let me. Yeah, it's not going to let me do anything here. I was hoping it was going to let me select random playback, but I don't think it will. No. Unfortunately, as a CD player for playing MP3s, it only goes to the next track. It doesn't have a way to select random. which is kind of what I was hoping that it was going to be able to do, was to select random playback. What I do want to find out is what happens if I load a DVD with MP3s on it. Will it play those? Let's find out. This time I have a backup from 2012 of my audio collection. This is on a DVD-R. I have some of them on Blu-ray as well. Let's see if this will read this disc. Be interesting because some will and others won't. So it'll be interesting to see if this cheap player will read. Nope, it won't. It says wrong disc. So it will not read a DVD recorded with MP3s. My Sony Blu-ray player will. In fact, my Sony Blu-ray player will also play a Blu-ray disc loaded with MP3s, and it does support random playback, which is a really cool feature because I can load up a disc with a whole bunch of music, just throw one disc in, hit random, and I got music for the entire day. Next, I'm going to try a DVD Plus R. As we know, it plays a DVD-R. It should play this one as well without any issues. This little DVD player is actually looking to be one that could be useful. I haven't figured out for what yet, but it could be useful. Yes, it plays DVD Plus R, no problem whatsoever. Before I close this off, we're going to take a look at the mechanism on this. There's not really much to do on this because it works, so that's always good. Didn't even have to change a belt. I will say that the fellow that gave this to me told me that it didn't have a picture. But I think that can be, that's pretty self-explanatory. It was in component progressive mode, and he may have plugged it in using composite or S-Video. S-Video probably wouldn't even had an output on it. But he would plugged it into a TV that did not have component capability over the component, or shouldn't say not component, did not have progressive scan capability over the component. And that would certainly be a problem. You wouldn't see a picture like I didn't. You just had that double image. But anyway, I think we'll take a look at this board on this. Like, I haven't seen one of these ones before. So I got the power unplugged. We'll just connect some connectors here. And see if I can pull this out without breaking something. That doesn't want to come out, does it? There we go. Take out the power cord. Take out the power switch. And I want to pull the drive. I want to see what laser pickup and stuff is on here. I mean, this is a Chinese drive, right? This is a Chinese-made machine. But I haven't seen one quite like this yet. The ones I'm used to seeing have a separate power supply, and this one here has got the power supply on the main board, so it's just minimalistic in everything. It'll have all the servos and everything on here. It should just be a bare pickup and a couple motors on this drive assembly. And that will lift out, and of course it's glued down to the board. Ribbon cable is glued down. We'll pull the pickup out this way just so I have a bit more slack to work with. Okay, so here's our bare drive. Got 3 motors. I like the switch. That switch isn't going to give too much trouble for drawer opener closed. It's got another switch here. This is to indicate when the pickup is in the home position. And just 3 motors, they all look to be the same. Here's our pickup over here. It's got dual lasers, obviously, because it's capable of working with both CD-R and DVD media. It's a 10 rich type S flexible cable. Some plastic gears here. But everything's looking good. I don't see anything dry in here, so that's probably good for a while. I don't think this thing's had a lot of hours on it. Inside it was pretty clean. The outside of it was filthy from smoke contamination, but inside wise it looks clean and I don't see any issues. Here's our main board over here. It's just single-sided. There doesn't appear to be any components underneath it. I'm looking, and I don't see anything on the other side. Like most of these, it's just we're down to a couple chips. We're going to have one chip that's going to be probably the ROM, the flash memory, and another chip that's doing the video decoding. That would be this one here. This is going to be the servo. So it's going to control the pickup. It's going to control the focus coils and the tracking coils, as well as the sled motor, spindle motor, and probably even opening and closing. So it'll have 2, 3, probably 5 servos in here. One for the focus, one for the tracking, one for the spindle motor, one for the sled motor, and another one to open and close the tray. That's typically what these have. This has got all the motor drive and everything in here. I'm not really crazy about having everything on one board. Having the power supply over here with the hot side. Here's the filters. If there was any filters that went bad, it would be one of these ones that would have gone bad, but I don't see any bulging on any of them, and the unit's working without any fault. So there's not really a heck of a lot to do. There's going to be that's probably the flash memory right there. And that's where they would load what this is. They would load the brand on here, and all the codes for the remote would be stored in there. When it boots, it's dumped into the main processor. One of these two, anyway. That there is definitely an EEPROM. That one. Video, and this one might be the system control over here, or one of these other ones. Anyway, so there's not a heck of a lot to see on here. It's pretty simple. They had it down to one board. I guess one board costs less to make than having a separate power supply. But not really a heck of a lot to see on here, so I'm going to throw this thing back together without damaging it. I hope I can get it back together without ripping anything. Got it out of here, so I should be able to hopefully somehow get this back in here without ripping that ribbon cable. It tipped out okay, so it should tip back in. Could be fun. There we go. All right. Watch it not work when I put the screws back in. I gotta come up with a crafty title for this. Maybe I'll call this, "Is this the cheapest DVD player that's ever been made?" I mean, I've seen some cheap looking DVD players before, but this one might take the cake.
Cheapest brand new DVD player ever bought was $25.
Simplicity, and I do have some other ones that I can show off. I've got a couple of old ones, really old ones, kicking around here that have been sitting in a box for years and years and years. There were some of the ones that came out, back in the early days that would play everything. They would play every type of disc, and brands such as Nova. I think one's called a Nova, but I don't know if it works. It was put away, so it probably doesn't, but I'll make sure that this can play a disc, and then we'll close this one off. Make sure I didn't damage anything putting it back together. And there it goes. Yeah, it's working. So there we go. I saved another one from the scrap bin. Got the remote control here. I can skip tracks, go to the next one. And if I press the display button, it should bring up what title I'm on. There we go. Shows all the different titles. There's 24 tracks on this disc. recorded in different speeds. I used a Dynex player. This is a Danex. You see that? So this one's spelled Daenyx, and I have a Dynex Blu-ray player. That's what these files were played on. These files all came off of a USB stick. And I have this Dynex Blu-ray player that will play MPEG-4 files off of a USB stick, as well as off of a DVD. But I just used this little player as the media player, feeding it into the recorder to make this test recording. But it's not the same brand. It's a similar sounding brand, but different. Because I tried the Dynex remote and it didn't work. Another unit I use quite often when I'm playing content if I want to do testing, besides my Blu-ray, besides my DVD player that's mounted up on the shelf there, which is that one. I put it back together. I left the disc cover out so you can see the disc spinning, but I put the unit back together. But I use a Sony media player, and I have that Dynex Blu-ray player that I can use. I actually got 3 of them that have it has HDMI out as well as component and composite and S-video, and it will play anything on a USB stick. So I keep it around for that. But anyway, I think I'm going to end this one now because there's nothing really else to show on this unit. It is working. You can see the laser spot down here on the disc shining through right there. Anyway, another one saved from the scrap heap. And it plays everything. I haven't tried an HD CD as I don't have one, but it'll even play Kodak picture CDs. But the fact that it played that S-video CD was pretty amazing because a lot of players will not play it. Most will not play this. So S-video CD will give you about, I think it's about 45 minutes on a 700 meg CD. You'll see how it looks in composite mode. Looks good. I would say that looks every bit as good as the SP. Certainly it looks better than the LP speed on the DVD player, on the DVD disc. It looks because it has more pixelation, and definitely better than the SLP, EP, and the SEP 10-hour mode that Toshiba had. I would say that this looks to be about equivalent to the SP speed, which would give you 2 hours on a DVD, and give you, on this it's about 40, I think it's 45 minutes on a S-video CD. A video CD, which is half the resolution, will do the full 80 minutes. I think it's maybe 40 or 42 minutes, somewhere in there. Anyway, it's not bad for a demo on a CD disc playing video. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. My good old Harmony 880 came to the rescue again. I've got 2 of these. I got one I paid full price for, and then I got one, this is actually the one I bought, and then I bought one because some of the buttons were starting to go bad on it. You had to really press them hard. I bought another one for, I think I paid $10 for it. Anyway, these were great remotes. Unfortunately, you can't buy them anymore because Harmony, or Logitech, stopped making remote controls. They had a really good remote, and this was one of the best that they had, and they stopped making them. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.